Can Stryper's frontman Michael Sweet go on his own solo and produce a debut album that is just as good or better than Stryper? Let's go find out.
Everybody, Gordon Titsworth here from Images of Eden, and you are watching the Crash Course YouTube channel with our local homegrown press guy, Trevor Crash Knight, here in York, PA.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to a album review video here on the Crash Course Metal Show. Today we're going to be talking about 1994's Michael Sweet's debut album, self-titled. So if you're unaware of who Michael Sweet is, he is the frontman of the band, the Christian band, heavy metal band, Stryper. In 1990, Stryper did release their final studio album of their original run in the original era, I guess you would say, Against the Law. And that was an album that was very different at the time for Stryper. They went more on the lines of rootsy. They kind of dropped like their Christian logos, their look, their more stripped down look, not so heavy in the Christian lyrical sense as well. But I actually really like that album too. Stryper did end up reforming, and in 2005 with Reborn, which is a really good album as well. And Stryper keeps putting out amazing stuff. I think their new stuff, like since 2005, might even rival or be even better than the original 80s original era. So that's kind of hard. Like, I don't say that about too many 80s bands. Like, their new stuff, their new catalog is better than their, old classic stuff. But today we're going to be talking about Michael Sweet's debut album here from 1994. So they, like I said, after Against the Law, Stryper disbanded, just took a break, what have you. And then Michael ended up going to Benson's music company and ended up releasing his debut album here, just self-titled. And I must say, I've been familiar with Stryper for most of my life, probably since I was like 12 years old, and always loved him. And I actually didn't really buy any of Michael Sweet's solo stuff up until a couple years ago, and this is the first one I did pick up. And I must say, I was quite impressed with it.
Hell yes.
Not that I was expecting something like totally off the wall that doesn't sound like Stryper, but you got to think here. This is the year 1994. Michael left Stryper, I guess, somewhat. You would think to do somewhat different stuff as well. Like, I don't know if that was necessarily like what the breakup was about, or like just the hiatus was about and stuff. And I just didn't know what to expect here. But this, especially if you like the melodic side of Stryper, you are certainly going to enjoy Michael Sweet's debut. So let's jump in here real quick to the track listings here. So first off, you lead off with Together. This is a very good track here. It is, I would argue, probably could have been an easy single for this album, but you did have the music video singles for All This in Heaven 2, Someday, and Ain't No Safe Way. But this could have easily been a single off this album. Now, I will say, most of this album is pretty good. You do have 10 tracks, so you're in that sweet spot. Like we like to say, no more than 10 tracks or 11 tracks, and you got yourself a good album for fans and listeners' retention on their attention. But together kind of sounds like a little bit like something that would be off the Goofy movie, like when that Michael Jackson music character is at the school, or not at the school, but they impersonate the Goofy's kid impersonates this like rock star, like singer. Kind of reminds me of like Michael Jackson, but like the music, the song that they're singing, kind of sounds like something that could fit in here with together, and I love it. You're gonna be getting a lot of melodic stuff, which is awesome because I like, I mean, that's what's great about the hair metal, glam metal, sleaze metal and stuff. It is melodic. That's why I think it's obviously so catchy, and it's really, really good stuff. Earworms for days in these subgenres of metal. And then you got track number 2 here coming on, Take Me Home. Good one here too as well. But let move here to the track number 3, Tomorrow Tonight. I think it has to be a top 20 ballad for me of the whole era of like power ballads and ballads, from the 80s and early 90s, obviously. But I absolutely love this song. Every time it comes on, I jam with it. It's uh, amazing ballad. Stryper does great ballads as well, even on their new catalog worth of stuff. Honestly, it's Lady, very good. They know how to write ballads. So that you're expecting greatness here, and you get at least 3 good ballads off of this album here. But Tomorrow Tonight, I absolutely love the saxophone. I believe it's the saxophone, and there's a saxophone solo in this song, and it's great. It absolutely elevates this song. Not that the song wasn't great to begin with. The saxophone, because like I know I'm gonna admit it here, I am a fan of Kenny G. He's like all kinds of horns and stuff like that as well, different type of flutes, and he does a lot of different stuff. But this song kind of reminds me of a more rock metal version of Kenny G. And I know you guys might call me nerd now, since I do enjoy Kenny G's early stuff with the funkiness, kind of dancing, type of rhythm stuff that he did. Those early Kenny G albums are really good, and I don't care what anybody says.
I don't give a fuck.
But yeah, Tomorrow Tonight, guys, check that out, especially if you like the ballads. Easily my favorite song or second favorite song off of this album. Then you move on here to track number 4, All This in Heaven 2. Nice, catchy chorus here. Just cool, very memorable lyrics, chorus in it. All This in Heaven 2, kind of cute, catchy type of song. And then Someday, you get another ballad type. Because like sometimes Michael does it. This is Christian based, obviously, here. Way more so than say Against the Law. So the lyrical content is a little bit more along the lines of what you would expect from Stryper than say Against the Law. But so some days along the lines of that, but more on a ballad feel. And then you have track number 6 here, Jesus. Good. It's more of a chanter, or like a shout along type song. Good. Like I said, I don't think there might be 1 or 2 tracks that don't make the cut on the iPod on this album, but it's very, very solid all the way through here. And then you got track number 7, All I Want to Do Is Love You. Catchy. That is going to be the term for this album, but like I said, it's just the wrong time for this album. I mean, like I said, it's 1994, heavy metal and hair metal certainly is all but dead. You got that against Michael Sweet here, and then you also have probably the Christian based and aura to this album, and that I would say is probably certainly in 1994 in the metal world is Against You as well there, and it's because obviously Stryper did break through with talking about religion and Christianity and stuff like that, but you just compound what is so hard about this style of metal in 1994 with the lyrics as well. But Michael and the boys, all the boys from Stryper, always say that they're not in it for the money or anything or the fame and stuff like that, which obviously you can tell that with what they have produced, the greatness that they produced in their catalog. And I mean, this is no different here. Michael Sweet's debut album. And then here you got track number 8, Forever Yours, another really good ballad song style, slower paced. Man, this album, like I said, this album is certainly impressive. Like if you're somewhat not that necessarily I was expecting Stryper, like I said, I wasn't necessarily expecting Stryper, but obviously with the voice of Stryper and possibly because you always hear interviews with the boys from Stryper saying that they don't really care for the Against the Law album, what it sounded like and stuff like that, which I would have to disagree because like I said, I am a fan of it, but possibly Michael Sweet just coming back to more of what the melodicness instead of say bluesiness, because there's a little bit of bluesiness on the Against the Law, like Ordinary Man. I absolutely love that song off of Against the Law. And so here on this album here, the debut, got track number 9, I Think You Hear Me Knocking, and then you had the final track here to end it off, Ain't No Safe Way. They're good songs in the aspect of when I'm listening to the album, they don't get skipped, but I will say that these are not on the iPod, so not very memorable for the most part. But like I said, in the context of the album, it stays on. We can finish it off. It's good. Nothing hateful at all. But that pretty much wraps up the whole 10-track album here. Very, very good. I like this album. Whenever I listen to Stryper, I throw this into the catalog of Stryper as well. Like if I'm listening to some Stryper, I'll throw in the Michael Sweet debut. I do have a couple of his other albums, solo albums, and this is the one that as of now, is my favorite. Just so melodic and so impressive for 1994 too. I think that's some of the battle here, just for the year and just coming off of Against the Law. You're just kind of like, what are we really gonna get here?
What kind of stupid ass question is that?
We got plenty. We got plenty to listen to talk about, and it is produced. It is produced by Michael Sweet, so that's another big thing here. That's a big shout out to Michael as well. But man, this is a good album. If you guys are fans of Stryper, of their work, especially the older stuff, not so much the newer stuff, because they are heavier now. They do a lot of different types of heavier stuff on their new catalog, and which is really good as well. But If you're more of the old school stryper, the 80s style, In God We Trust type deal, stryper, this is up your avenue, but it's certainly not as polished and overproduced as In God We Trust, which to me is the biggest glare of In God We Trust. But this is certainly worth picking up. If you guys can find it somewhere, some way, somehow, and you guys are fans of stryper, check this out. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. Like I said, you got like at least 3 ballads on here that are top notch. But seriously, check out, please, please, please. Check out Tomorrow, Tonight. Great saxophone solo in there. And then also the lead off single, Together, is another one of my favorites as well off this album. Just gives me that vibe of, like I said, the first Goofy movie. I don't know why, because I really enjoyed that movie when I was young, but like just like the vibes of it, like the feel good vibes of it and stuff, it just puts me back in that headspace for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just great stuff all the way around. I give it an easy 4 out of 5 rating. This Michael Sweet debut. And I do not have the 1995 reel. I do not have that one, which that I will be certainly wanting to pick that one up here next out of his catalog. Guys, let me know in the comments as well what you guys think of Michael Sweet's debut here, or any of his solo stuff. How does it compare to stryper? So I think this album, his debut here, certainly stands out with any of the stryper stuff. That certainly, when you compare it to something like In God We Trust, something like that, because that's probably the closest sounding. Certainly not as heavy, because there are some heavier tracks on In God We Trust. But yeah, there's nothing like real heavy on this though. It's more on the melodic side of things, and some ballads and stuff like that. But very, very good, very listenable, way more than listenable. But I think any casual stryper or any casual melodic hair metal AOR type deal will enjoy at least a couple songs off of this, no doubt in my mind. So, guys, check out Michael Sweet's 1994 debut. And, guys, until next time, stay out of that collateral damage, and we will see you guys later.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.